Hello, everybody. I'm Krasi Attasio. I'm Sidereal Astrologer, and today I will talk about interesting star event. It is Mercury moving into Sagittarius and meeting there the Sun and Saturn. Why this event is also as important as the change of sign now, in particular of Venus, when Venus moved to Scorpio. There are some interesting details there, but the moving of Mercury into Sagittarius is also very interesting, and I will give you my perspective, which is coming from the ancient Babylonian astrology. And it is that similar situation happened with Venus. Mercury is moving into the sign which is considered his sign of detriment because or fall, because Mercury is ruling the opposite sign of Sagittarius, and this is Gemini. So what is happening? Mercury is moving into Sagittarius, where this is his place of fall, and indeed this is not the most comfortable place for Mercury. But the most interesting thing here is that when this transit is happening, at the very same time, Mercury becomes invisible, becomes heliacally invisible, hides in the rays of the sun. You know, maybe I often repeat this, that Mercury is the planet which is the closest to the sun, cannot go more than 28 degrees away from the sun. So you can see Mercury is very near the sun always. Therefore, we do not see often Mercury visible on the sky. So what is happening? Mercury on the 31st of December, actually 1st of January, is entering Sagittarius, and in the same moment is invisible, and is meeting there another invisible planet of this moment, and this is Saturn. Saturn invisible, Mercury invisible in a place where Mercury doesn't feel comfortable. So how is this going to affect us? If we know that Mercury is related to communication, to media, to commerce, it's very much also related to the financial bourses, but I will make a separate video only about finances, so I will not talk about finances now, but you can also see where I'm heading. So what is happening? Mercury is seeing another invisible planet secretively, and they hide. Communication is going to suffer. Media will not review what we expect. Commerce, communication, negotiations, all this will suffer much more than when we hear repetitively, oh, Mercury is invisible, Mercury is retrograde, don't do this or don't do that. I will tell you that during Mercury retrograde, to sign contract is not a big deal, but to sign contract on Mercury invisible is better to wait until Mercury becomes visible. So what is happening? The planet associated with what we just said, communication, media, ruling astrology, ruling numerology, ruling esoteric sciences, Hermes practically is disappearing. And with this, the free speech, the free media, will be sort of disappearing, and will be joining Saturn. And you know that the aspect of Saturn and Mercury together is related to very much to limitations of the freedom of speech, limitations of creating deviation from the truth speaking, literally lying. So we will be hearing a lot of lies, either on mundane level, or on media level, or even on on our private everyday life. The lies will be around us. So we need to be very conscious, very awake to distinguish lie from truth, good from bad, because all this will be questioned when Saturn and Mercury meet and both become invisible. So if you have Sagittarius on the ascendant, Sagittarius sun, Sagittarius moon, Gemini moon, Gemini sun, Gemini midheaven, ascendant Gemini. Keep in mind, or on midheaven Gemini, keep in mind that you may be going through period, especially if this is on midheaven, when you may have certain challenges in your career, which will be associated with speech, with saying the truth, with things that may happen not in front of your face. So you need to stay very alert, very awake, very conscious. Certainly, this is absolutely not a good period of media work, sharing your knowledge on media, YouTube, social media. Certainly, if you're planning important travel abroad, which you expect to bring you profit of any positive gain, keep in mind that this may not be the most appropriate period. Also, if you will be planning signing of contract and negotiations, this will not be the most appropriate period. And I will tell you approximately when this will be ending. This will end on the 20th of January, but interesting thing is that it's very important that we are alert also in relation to our spirituality, because Mercury is passing through the very pure and very important degrees of the Milky Way, which is associated with spiritual awareness, spirituality, good intuition. So we need to be very alert and be very hygienic in terms of thoughts, in terms of our deeds, because Saturn will dare to also to put certain restrictions and limitations on our speech, on our deeds, if you want. So this is a period just to take into consideration, not as any danger, not as a dangerous period, but to be alert, to be conscious, to be careful on how we speak, how we share knowledge, how we negotiate, how we communicate in general, and not to trust without using intuition, because this is the typical conjunction of two planets which do not feel well enough in the sign of Sagittarius. So all truth speaking will be questioned during this period. After that, Mercury will be moving into Capricorn, and this will be creating different but quite interesting events, a bit on the same track, because Mercury will still be invisible and Capricorn will be ruled again by Saturn, which is still invisible. But I may speak about this when the time comes. Thank you. With this, I'm completing.